Hello and welcome to day 30 of revising UPSC previous year questions and essay for UPSC 2027. In this video, I will cover sixth essay of the year 2025, sixth or seventh, you can check. So let's get started. The years teach much which the days never know. Okay, one thing I wanted to clear that since we are in practice, so you will see these headings like introduction and all, but when you write the essay in real or in practice or in mocks, you need not to go through these headings, but because we are in practice, so you will see these headings repeatedly in the essay. So let's get started. The year teach much which the days never know. In the autumn of 1915, sitting in a dimly lit room in Zurich, Albert Einstein put the finishing touches on his general theory of relativity to a casual observer watching him on any given afternoon. Einstein's daily routine seemed remarkably plain, a series of isolated hours filled with scribbled equations, discarded waste paper, and long periods of silent contemplation. A single day in Zurich revealed only the immediate struggle of a physicist grappling with mathematical anomalies. Yet, when viewed through the arc of a decade, those seemingly inconclusive days aggregated into a monumental paradigm shift that redefined human understanding of space, time, and gravity. The immediate moment caught only the friction of calculation. The long expanse of time revealed the grandeur of revelation. This profound paradox of human existence is captured timelessly in Ralph Waldo Emerson's observation: the years teach much which the days never know. Human experience unfolds across two distinct temporal scales: the granular micro horizon of days and the expansive macro perspective of years. The days are governed by immediacy, emotional volatility, operational noise, and the tyranny of urgent imperatives. They present us with disconnected fragments of reality, often magnifying temporary setbacks into existential crises. The years, by contrast, operate as the silent architects of wisdom. They synthesize isolated incidents into overarching patterns, transform raw emotional pain into mature fortitude, and reveal the underlying currents of historical, personal, and societal evolution. The central thesis of this essay is that true wisdom, human progress, and structural maturity emerge from cultivating the patience to look beyond the immediate noise of the daily horizon. While the days provide the raw, unrefined material of immediate experience, it is only through the reflective crucible of the years that societies, institutions, and individuals distill meaning, resilience, and lasting truth. The philosophy of time, the micro horizon versus macro wisdom. Philosophically, the tension between the immediate and the enduring has occupied thinkers across civilizations. In classical Indian philosophy, this distinction is embedded in the concepts of nitya, the fleeting, temporary phenomena of daily life, and anitya, or the broader realization of rata, the cosmic underlying order governing existence. The daily horizon is inherently bounded by sensory perception and immediate reactivity. When we inhabit the day, our cognitive faculties are consumed by tactical survival, immediate problem solving, and emotional responses to immediate stimuli. In his Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle noted that a single swallow does not make a summer, nor does one fine day make a person blessed and happy. Virtue and wisdom, phronesis, are not episodic events that can be measured within 24 hours. They are habits cultivated over a lifetime. The days are prone to myopia, a state where the noise of current events obscure the signal of historical progression. Psychologically, human beings suffer from what behavioral economists call hyperbolic discounting and present bias. We overvalue immediate feedbacks and underappreciate long term trajectories. A market crash on a Tuesday feels like the collapse of civilization. A political setback in a given month feels like the permanent demise of democracy. Yet, when historical distance is introduced, the panicked day shrinks into a minor statistical anomaly within a long-term upward curve of human prosperity and institutional resilience. The years teach us that what felt like an apocalyptic rupture on a given morning was merely a necessary realignment in the broader historical narrative. History as a mosaic, the illusion of the immediate events. When viewed through the lens of history, the inadequacy of judging epics by their constituent days become starkly evident. Historical events rarely reveal their true significance to the contemporaries who live through them. Consider the Indian freedom struggle. On August 7, 1905, when the Swadeshi movement was formally proclaimed at the Calcutta Town Hall, or on March 12, 1930, when Mahatma Gandhi set out from Sabarmati Ashram with 78 followers toward Dandi, the immediate days were marked by uncertainty, harsh British repression, and skepticism from political opponents. To analyzing an observer analyzing those specific days, the marches might have appeared as symbolic, localized protest with negligible impact on the mighty British Empire. The daily reports spoke of arrests, police lathi charge, and administrative crackdowns. However, the years revealed a vastly different truth. The individual days of struggle were not isolated failures or minor disturbances. They were the essential cumulative drops that eroded the moral and economic foundation of colonial rule. The year synthesized the Dandi Salt March not as a 24-day walk to a coastal village, but as the decisive psychological turning point that made the eventual independence of India inevitable. Similarly, the European Renaissance was not an event experienced in a single afternoon. A citizen living in Florence in the early 15th century would have experienced daily life characterized by regional wars, recurring plague outbreaks, and economic instability. They did not wake up and declare, "Today we begin the Renaissance." It was only after centuries elapsed that historians could identify those turbulent days as the dawn of humanism, artistic rebirth, and scientific inquiry. The days experienced the plague, the years inherited the Enlightenment. At the level of individual human existence, the distinction between the teaching of days and the wisdom of years is deeply personal. Youth is fundamentally a creature of the days. In the early stages of life, emotional reactions are acute and immediate. A failed examination, a broken relationship, or a career setback feels definitive and absolute. The immediate horizon lacks historical context. It offers no memory of past recoveries to cushion current falls. As individuals age, the accumulation of years introduces what psychologists term post-traumatic growth and cognitive complexity. The years teach us that personal adversity is rarely a dead end. More often, it is a course correction. The very failures that felt catastrophic on a specific Tuesday become 2 decades later the foundational stories of personal resilience and self discovery. Consider the life of Abraham Lincoln. His early life was a continuous series of daily defeats: personal bankruptcy in 1833, a nervous breakdown in 35, defeat of Illinois legislature in 38, and subsequent electoral losses for the US Senate in 54 and 58. Measured day by day, Lincoln's life was a study in persistent failure. Yet, when evaluated across the span of his lifetime, those precise years of disappointment forged the profound moral clarity, empathy, and political fortitude required to preserve the American Union and abolish slavery. The days recorded individual defeats, the years forged one of history's greatest leaders. Moral character itself is a product of long-term temporal synthesis. In the Bhagavad Gita, the concept of sthiti prajna, the individual of settled intellect, describes one who remains unperturbed, unperturbed by immediate sorrow and unattached to immediate joy. This equanimity cannot be acquired in a day of intellectual effort. It is the product of years of lived experience, self-reflection, and the gradual internalizing of life's permanent nature. In the realm of public administration, governance, and constitutional law, the conflict between the days and the years manifests as the tension between short-term political expediency and long-term nation building. Daily politics is inherently hyper-reactive. It is driven by 24 hours news cycles, electoral anxieties, immediate public outrage, and populist demands. The days in governance demand quick fixes, immediate subsidies, and visible short-term achievements that can be showcased before the next election cycle. When statecraft is subordinated entirely to the demands of the days, it results in fiscal imprudence, environmental degradation, and short-sighted policy paralysis. Conversely, visionary governance is an exercise in designing of the years for the years. When the framers of the Indian Constitution assembled in the Constituent Assembly in November 1946, they were surrounded by the horrific immediate reality of communal violence, partition, widespread poverty, and administrative chaos. Had they responded merely to the immediate impulses of those dark days, India might have adopted a majoritarian, centralist, and authoritarian framework. Instead, B.R. Ambedkar and his colleagues chose to look across the horizon of years. They drafted a document anchored in long-term constitutional morality, guaranteeing fundamental rights, Article 14, 1921, establishing independent institution and enshrining directive principle of state policy to guide social engineering over generations. The Daily News in 1947 reported tragedy and division. The constitutional vision designed for the years ensured that India emerged as the world's largest, most resilient, vibrant democracy. Similarly, structural economic reforms such as India's 1991 liberalization or major tax and digital infrastructure overhauls like GST and the Unified Payment Interface (UPI) often encounter intense friction, public skepticism, and operational dislocation in their early days. The days highlight transition cost, implementation hiccups, and political opposition. It is only the years that reveal the profound dividends of structural reform, expanded economic opportunity, poverty alleviation, and global competitiveness. In scientific exploration and environmental stewardship, the principle that years teach what days cannot know is a foundational truth. Scientific breakthroughs are rarely Archimedean eureka moments that happen in a vacuum. They are the visible culmination of decades of silent, unheralded daily failures. The development of mRNA vaccine technology during the COVID-19 pandemic appeared to the general public as a rapid, miraculous response created in a matter of months. However, the truth of story of mRNA technology spans more than 30 years of painstaking, underfunded research by scientists like Kathleen Carico. For decades, daily experiments failed, grant applications were rejected, and academic institutions dismissed the work. The days of mRNA research were filled with obscurity and frustration. The years eventually saved millions of human lives and transformed global medicine. In environmental ecology, the disconnect between daily perception and decadal reality poses an existential challenge to humanity. On any given day, a temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius feels negligible, hardly the difference between wearing a sweater or a light shirt. The daily experience of weather obscures the long term phenomena of climate change. It is only through decadal data of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and the long term observation of glacier, glacier retreats, sea level rises, and biodiversity loss that the catastrophic reality of planetary warming becomes visible. The days present pleasant sunshine. The years reveal the slow burn of ecological crisis. Environmental sustainability demands that human civilization stop governing by temporal metrics of daily economic quarterly reports and start acting according to the ecological cycles of generations. To fully comprehend the depth of Emerson's dictum, one must avoid the trap of complete dichotomy. To say that the years teach much which the days never know is not to render the days meaningless. The years do not exist in abstraction. They are composed entirely of days lived with intention, discipline, and awareness. The day is the domain of action, execution, and presence. As the Roman poet Horace famously wrote, Carpe diem, whatever, seize the day. If one neglects the daily duty, the annual harvest never arrives. The key to an ethical and impactful life is not to ignore the day, but to prevent the day from blinding us to the year. It is to practice that it is to practice what management scholars call dual horizon thinking, acting with tactical rigor in the present while maintaining strategic alignment with the long-term vision. In administrative terms, a civil servant must attend to immediate daily grievances of a citizen standing at their office desk while simultaneously building systemic digital infrastructure that ensures such grievances do not arise 10 years later in personal terms. An individual must experience the grief of a current heartbreak or failure while retaining the deep internal faith that time will integrate that pain into wisdom. As we navigate the increasingly hyper-connected, fast-paced world of the 21st century, the temptation to live entirely in the days has never been stronger. Algorithms feed us real-time updates, social media demands instant reactions, and financial markets operate on millisecond trading algorithm. We are drowning in daily information while starving for decadal wisdom. Reclaiming the perspective of the years is therefore an urgent civilizational imperative. It requires us to cultivate intellectual humility, institutional patience, and emotional depth. It reminds us that society is a partnership not merely between those who are living today, but between those who came before us, those who are living now, and those who are yet to be born. When we look back at the grand tapestry of human history, the frenetic panics of forgotten afternoons fade into insignificance, leaving behind the enduring structures of art, law, philosophy, and human compassion. The days are the fleeting wave on the surface of the ocean, filled with foam and fury. The years are the deep, silent ocean currents. The years are the deep, silent ocean currents that shape the geography of the world. To live wisely is to work diligently through the noise of the day, while keeping one's soul anchored in the quite profound lessons of the years. For in the final analysis, the day tests our endurance, but the years define our destiny.